Good morning. I must apologise to any delegates who are not involved in fire barrier remediation, etc., as the focus of this talk will solely be about this subject. After nearly 6 years of research and development into a new fire barrier remediation solution, I think my review of thoughts on this process would be valuable. My company's involvement with the remediation sector started about 8 years ago, undertaking a range of fire barrier installations across blue chip projects. An engineered solution determined by a range of key stakeholders, often complicated by the needs of a design and build process in tight city centre programmes. Timelines were usually short, so a focus on the dynamic was fundamental. The process was invariably short and successful. Cut to post-Grenfell, things are so different. Gaining industry acceptance for a new product has been time-consuming in the extreme. While they accept that a forensic and scientific approach is required, the general apathy and resistance to innovation to date has been frustrating, and I must say disappointing. When we consider the clear fire safety issues facing occupants in many dangerous buildings, it never ceases to amaze me the willingness to procrastinate over minor, proven points of detail. In my experience, the cost and time savings staring remediation sector in the face seem to have no bearing on engaging with innovators to help streamline the development process. From day one, we've had to prize information from key stakeholders. Firstly, to determine the correct fire test regime, while procuring the test via the relevant test centres has been glacial. One test project has taken over 2 years to bring to fruition, and personally, I think it's unacceptable. Since successfully completing fire resistance testing, we still find a small cabal whose unwillingness to accept the data and resist progression to works on minor points of details continues to be the norm. I note with sadness regular reports in both national and construction press lamenting the lack of progression in remediation. Again, in my experience, this will continue for the foreseeable future, while typically project managers and legal representatives in the food chain procrastinate, going over the same minor points of detail again and again to fend off making a decision, and most importantly, progressing the safety and inhabitants within dangerous buildings. In a previous life, I worked as a buildings loss adjuster. During that time, the key point was to successfully mitigate the insured peril in as streamlined a fashion as possible. Minor issues could usually be dealt with over time, the point being that major loss is addressed expediently. With the advent of CCPI and BSR, I see the backlog of fire barrier remediation projects growing, and in my opinion, they won't be addressed anytime soon. I hope the occupants can cope with the stress of waiting while the fiddler plays. Finally, I thank you for your time, and I'm open for further discussion on our stand in the main area for the rest of the today. Thank you.